Have you ever felt like your hard-earned money mysteriously vanishes into thin air every single month? You work exhausting hours, receive your paycheck, yet your savings account balance stubbornly refuses to grow. This is the invisible financial bleed, a silent phenomenon draining the wealth potential of millions globally. Today, we follow the transformative journey of a woman who decided to finally confront her numbers. Her name represents every modern professional trapped in the exhausting cycle of earning and immediate consumption. She committed to a radical 7-day challenge that completely shattered her baseline assumptions about personal finance. By tracking every single cent, she uncovered hidden psychological triggers governing her daily macroeconomic decisions. This script details her journey, exposing how minor habits aggregate into massive structural walls blocking independence. Our story begins on a crisp Monday morning with a routine transaction that felt completely harmless. She purchased her standard artisan morning coffee, unthinkingly tapping her digital wallet against the card reader. It was a simple habit, a minor $5 comfort repeated over 300 times every year. But wealth accumulation is built on recognizing how small, recurring microtransactions compound over long horizons. Author David Bach famously called this the Latte factor, illustrating the immense opportunity cost of convenience. If invested properly, those small daily amounts transform into robust, yield-generating assets over a few decades. Sitting at her desk, she opened a blank ledger, recording that first entry with genuine confidence. She believed her financial leakages were entirely driven by high rent and unavoidable utility bills alone. Most consumers suffer from this exact cognitive bias, blaming major fixed expenses while ignoring variable leaks. Behavioral economists call this mental accounting, where we compartmentalize spending to avoid facing unpleasant realities. By lunchtime, the corporate environment tempted her with a seamless, single-click food delivery application choice. A $15 gourmet salad quickly escalated to $30 once delivery fees and tips were added. She noticed how seamless digital payment systems systematically detach consumers from the emotional pain of paying. Academic research proves that swiping plastic or using phone applications drastically increases overall consumer spending. When physical cash leaves your hand, your brain experiences a literal, measurable neurological resistance response. Digital wallets completely eliminate this healthy friction, turning spending into a subconscious, thoughtless muscle reflex. She noted down the $30 lunch, feeling a subtle, unfamiliar pang of continuous operational discomfort. On Monday evening, an automatic subscription renewal notification flashed silently across her brightly lit screen. A premium streaming service she rarely watched had quietly extracted another $20 from her account. This is subscription creeping, a deliberate corporate strategy designed to capitalize on consumer inertia and forgetfulness. Modern corporations build entire business models around recurring revenue streams that users completely forget they maintain. By the end of day one, her calculated total expenditures reached an astonishing $75. None of these purchases felt significant individually, yet combined they represented a substantial daily capital outflow. She stared at the ledger, realizing $75 daily aggregates to over $27,000 annually. That is capital that could actively purchase index funds, real estate, or high-yield investment instruments instead. Tuesday morning brought a brand new awareness as she actively resisted the standard morning coffee stop. Instead, she prepared her own beverage at home, confronting the minor discomfort of broken daily routines. True financial discipline is never about deprivation. It is entirely about conscious resource allocation and clarity. It requires aligning your daily spending with your long-term wealth objectives, rather than immediate emotional impulses. Arriving at the office, she felt a distinct sense of empowerment over her financial environment. However, a midday corporate celebration quickly challenged her newfound resolve with group purchasing dynamics. Peer pressure in modern consumer culture creates intense social expectations to spend money to belong comfortably. Navigating social spending requires a firm understanding of your personal values versus external cultural expectations. She politely declined contributing to the expensive, non-essential office pool, choosing her financial autonomy instead. It felt slightly awkward, but saying no to others meant saying yes to her future self. By Tuesday evening, she sat down to audit her recurring utility and digital service bills systematically. Many people view fixed costs as completely unchangeable, but most providers offer unadvertised loyalty discounts. She spent exactly 40 minutes negotiating her internet and insurance premiums down via digital chat channels. That brief effort successfully shaved $45 off her recurring monthly fixed operational overhead costs. This represents an immediate, risk-free return on time invested, compounding positively into her monthly savings pool. Wednesday morning marked the true halfway point of this intense, eye-opening 7-day personal tracking challenge. She began noticing a profound psychological shift in how she perceived every single retail price tag. Instead of calculating costs in nominal currency, she began translating prices directly into hours of labor. If an item cost $100, she calculated how many real working hours paid for it. This paradigm shift is famously detailed in the classic personal finance book, Your Money or Your Life. It forces consumers to realize they are trading their finite, irreplaceable life energy for material possessions. When viewed through this profound philosophical lens, impulsive retail therapy loses its powerful emotional appeal entirely. At lunch, she comfortably consumed a carefully prepared meal, bypassing the tempting convenience of delivery apps. She calculated that this single habit change was saving her roughly $100 every single week. On Wednesday afternoon, a targeted social media advertisement tempted her with an attractive, limited-time fashion flash sale. The digital algorithm precisely knew her historical browsing habits, engineered perfectly to trigger an immediate impulse purchase. Modern e-commerce platforms spend billions optimizing digital interfaces to eliminate all cognitive friction from consumer buying. They utilize artificial scarcity, like countdown timers, to trigger urgent fear of missing out in viewers. Instead of clicking buy, she implemented a strict, mandatory 24-hour cooling-off rule for all discretionary purchases. This simple psychological barrier disrupts the immediate dopamine loop driving modern impulse-driven online shopping behavior. By delaying the transaction, she allowed her rational prefrontal cortex to override her emotional consumer impulses. When Thursday arrived, her tracking ledger revealed a remarkably clean, zero-spend day for the first time. Achieving a zero-spend day provides an incredible psychological victory, proving complete mastery over your immediate environment. It demonstrates that your daily happiness is completely decoupled from continuous consumption-driven retail transactions. Macroeconomic data reveals that aggregate consumer spending drives over 2/3 of total economic activity nationwide. By actively resisting consumerism, you are effectively reclaiming your surplus value from the massive corporate machine. You transform from a passive consumer into an active accumulator of real, productive, wealth-generating assets. On Thursday evening, she thoroughly audited her home pantry, discovering significant amounts of unused food items. The average modern household wastes roughly 30% of its purchased groceries due to poor planning. This waste represents pure capital inefficiency, money directly thrown away due to systemic organizational laziness. She structured a creative weekly meal plan using only ingredients she already owned in her kitchen. This micro-optimizing exercise proved that abundance often hides quietly right beneath our unappreciated, existing everyday environments. Friday morning brought the intense, culturally embedded anticipation of the upcoming weekend social lifestyle expectations. Modern weekend culture is heavily engineered around high-velocity spending, expensive dining, and commercial entertainment experiences. She recognized that maintaining her financial momentum required finding low-cost alternative methods for genuine social connection. True wealth creation never demands total isolation. It simply requires high levels of creative resourcefulness. She proactively invited her close friends for a scenic evening urban hike instead of expensive drinks. Her friends eagerly accepted, revealing that they also felt secret financial stress from expensive social outings. This vulnerable moment broke the invisible barrier of financial pretense that traps so many young professionals. We often spend money we do not have to impress people we do not even like. Friday night concluded with $0 spent on entertainment, yet her level of fulfillment remained incredibly high. Saturday morning allowed her dedicated time to deep dive into the world of active wealth-building education. She realized that saving capital is merely step one. Investing is the real engine of independence. Without investing, accumulated capital is systematically eroded by the invisible, purchasing power destroying forces of global inflation. To build real wealth, you must deploy your saved capital into high-quality, cash-flowing asset classes. She opened a low-cost, self-directed brokerage account, dedicating hours to studying index fund tracking structures. Index funds offer instant diversification, allowing everyday investors to capture broad macroeconomic growth safely and efficiently. Diversified index funds allowed her to capture the broad wealth-generating capacity of global markets without complex trading. She learned that dollar-cost averaging systematically removes emotional timing risk by investing a fixed amount consistently. This disciplined strategy transforms market downturns into excellent opportunities to purchase high-quality assets at heavily discounted prices. By Saturday afternoon, her heightened financial awareness inspired a profound strategic evaluation of her career trajectory. True financial literacy forces an individual to confront the inherent mathematical limitations of trading time for money. She recognized that her primary corporate salary, while stable, possessed a definitive structural ceiling on potential earnings. To achieve accelerated financial independence, she realized she needed to develop scalable, non-linear parallel income streams. Renowned investor Naval Ravikant frequently emphasizes that you will never get rich renting out your time. You must own equity, a piece of a business, to gain real compounding financial freedom over time. Inspired by this profound realization, she began auditing her unique professional skill sets for entrepreneurial viability. She discovered that her daily corporate expertise could easily be packaged into a premium digital consulting service. The modern internet economy has radically democratized business creation, lowering the barrier to entry to near zero. Anyone with a laptop and specialized knowledge can launch a highly profitable, scalable global service entity overnight. Saturday evening was spent mapping out her minimum viable service offering on a clean digital workspace. She focused entirely on solving a specific, high-value pain point for small businesses operating in her industry. By focusing on high ROI business outcomes, she could command premium project-based pricing instead of low hourly rates. Sunday morning arrived, bringing the final, critical day of this intensive 7-day financial tracking experiment. She woke up feeling a deep sense of clarity that completely replaced her old financial anxiety. The simple act of tracking had completely demystified money, transforming it from an adversary into a tool. On Sunday afternoon, she conducted a thorough line-by-line review of her entire 7-day expenditure ledger. The aggregated data revealed that her total discretionary spending had dropped by a staggering 65%. This dramatic reduction was achieved entirely through conscious awareness, without feeling any sense of painful deprivation. She had successfully optimized her cash flow, freeing up hundreds of dollars of surplus capital every week. More importantly, she had reclaimed control over her attention, actively resisting targeted corporate psychological consumer engineering. She calculated that her optimized weekly savings rate would compound into over $12,000 annually. When deployed into broad market index funds, this found capital would radically shorten her timeline to independence. Compounding interest is famously described as the eighth wonder of the world by physicist Albert Einstein. Those who understand it earn it. Those who do not understand it inevitably pay it through debt. She sat down at her computer to automate her entire personal financial infrastructure moving forward permanently. Automation is the ultimate behavioral hack, completely removing human willpower from the monthly savings equation. She configured her banking app to automatically route 20% of every paycheck directly to investments. By paying herself first, she ensured her wealth-building goals took absolute priority over any consumer desires. The remaining balance was automatically allocated to fixed living expenses and a designated guilt-free discretionary pool. This elegant system created a seamless, friction-free framework that effortlessly enforced long-term structural financial discipline. On Monday morning, exactly 1 week after starting, she walked into the office a transformed person. Her external circumstances remained identical, yet her internal psychological paradigm had experienced a massive tectonic shift. She no longer viewed herself as a passive corporate cog trapped in an endless survival loop. She was now the active chief executive officer of her own personal financial destiny and future. The tracking challenge was over, but her lifelong journey toward absolute financial autonomy had officially begun. Over the next 6 months, she rigidly maintained the automated systems she established during that week. Her investment portfolio grew steadily, providing a tangible, reassuring psychological cushion against unexpected life volatility. The presence of liquid capital completely changes an individual's psychological relationship with their corporate workplace. It replaces chronic underlying fear with a quiet confidence, allowing you to make career moves based on growth. Simultaneously, she dedicated 10 disciplined hours every week to scaling her parallel online digital consulting business. She utilized organic content marketing strategies to attract high-paying clients without spending money on advertising. Within 90 days, her side business was generating a highly predictable $2,000 in monthly profit. This parallel income stream was immediately routed into her brokerage account, supercharging her total compounding engine. Her velocity toward financial freedom had doubled, proving the immense power of combining defense with offense. Budgeting optimizes your existing resources, but scaling your income unlocks mathematically infinite wealth-building potential. 1 year later, she stood overlooking the vibrant city skyline, reflecting on the challenge that started everything. Her entire life trajectory had completely shifted, all sparked by a simple 7-day operational capital tracking challenge. It proved that structural financial transformation does not require massive luck or an extraordinary windfall to occur. It requires radical, unyielding awareness of where your hard-earned economic resources are being directed daily. Most people live in a state of perpetual financial somnambulism, completely unconscious of their true spending. They wander through highly engineered consumer marketplaces, falling victim to every single optimization trick big business deploys. By reclaiming her awareness, she effectively stepped outside of the exhausted, debt-fueled modern consumer matrix permanently. True wealth is never measured by the flashy, depreciating material items you choose to display publicly. Real wealth is measured by the absolute freedom and autonomy you possess over your finite daily time. It is the profound capability to wake up every morning and say, "I can do whatever I choose today." This level of pure self-ownership is the ultimate goal of the modern financial independence movement. Achieving this state requires shifting your primary identity from an avid consumer to a disciplined, long-term builder. It demands that you treat your personal capital with the exact same rigor as a corporate executive. You must protect your operating margins, aggressively optimize your fixed overhead, and expand your core revenue lines. As her automated investment portfolio quietly compounded, she began experiencing a massive drop in baseline life stress. Cortisol levels drop dramatically when you possess a robust, multi-year liquid cash financial runway behind you. You no longer tolerate toxic workplace environments or bad business relationships out of sheer economic survival necessity. Capital gives you the ultimate leverage in any negotiation, the absolute unyielding power to walk away cleanly. Without that leverage, you are fundamentally trapped, regardless of how large your nominal monthly paycheck looks. She used this newfound psychological leverage to negotiate a remote working arrangement with her primary employer. This operational change completely eliminated her exhausting daily commute, saving her another 10 productive hours every week. Time is the ultimate non-renewable resource, the foundational raw material from which all future assets are built. She instantly reallocated those found hours directly into scaling her thriving online digital consulting platform further. Her business was no longer a small side hustle. It was transforming into a highly efficient corporation. She began outsourcing basic administrative tasks to specialized virtual assistants, maximizing her personal high-value output. This is the essence of modern leverage, utilizing technology and global labor pools to multiply your effectiveness. By focusing entirely on her core zone of genius, her consulting revenue experienced a massive vertical spike. Macroeconomic shifts mean that the future belongs entirely to highly agile, leveraged, single-operator digital enterprise entities. Traditional employment models offer a false sense of security while capping your ultimate economic potential completely. By diversifying her income across employment, business profits, and market investments, she achieved true structural anti-fragility. If one economic pillar falters during a market downturn, the other asset classes comfortably sustain her. This is how sophisticated wealth managers design robust financial systems to withstand any global macroeconomic volatility. They do not try to predict the unpredictable future. They build systems that thrive in uncertainty. Looking back, she realized the hardest part of the entire journey was simply getting started on Monday. The human mind is naturally wired to resist change, preferring comfortable mediocrity over the friction of growth. We delay our financial education, telling ourselves we will finally start saving when we earn more money. This is a dangerous psychological illusion because unmanaged spending habits scale seamlessly alongside any income increases. Parkinson's law states that expenses will always rise to completely meet the total level of your income. Breaking this vicious cycle requires a deliberate, conscious intervention like the 7-day tracking challenge she executed. It acts as an immediate pattern interrupter, forcing you to look directly at your raw financial truth. The truth can be incredibly uncomfortable initially, but it is the absolute foundation of genuine wealth empowerment. You cannot optimize a system that you refuse to measure with absolute honesty and mathematical precision. Today, her automated portfolio generates enough monthly dividend yield to cover her baseline living expenses entirely. She has officially crossed the threshold into absolute financial independence, a monumentally profound life milestone achievement. Her work is now entirely optional, driven by deep personal passion rather than financial survival requirements. The 7-day challenge did not make her rich overnight, but it completely rewired her financial operating system. It shifted her mind from short-term dopamine chasing to long-term macro asset accumulation and strategic design. This exact same transformation is completely available to anyone willing to audit their life with absolute clarity. Your current financial situation is simply the lagging indicator of your past subconscious behavioral patterns and choices. By changing your daily micro-decisions today, you radically alter the entire trajectory of your future wealth. Do not wait for the perfect macroeconomic conditions or a massive promotion to begin your journey. Grab a simple ledger, open a clean spreadsheet, and commit to tracking every single dollar starting tomorrow. Confront the microleaks, negotiate the fixed bills, and begin automating your investing infrastructure as soon as possible. Build your parallel income streams, leverage the modern internet economy, and buy back your precious lifetime. The path to wealth is not a secret reserved for an elite class of financial insiders. It is a well-mapped, highly predictable formula based on discipline, consistent compounding, and relentless strategic execution. Small, unglamorous choices made consistently over long horizons yield absolutely extraordinary, life-altering macroeconomic results. You possess the complete agency and power to rewrite your personal economic stories starting right now. Take complete ownership of your capital, protect your finite time, and build a life of absolute autonomy. Your future self is actively waiting for you to make the courageous choice to begin today. The 7-day challenge is your invitation. Step forward and claim your lasting financial sovereignty forever.